Hi guys, Mew2King
and Salem.
and today we're going to be talking about if Sonic the Hedgehog deserves to be banned in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Some of Sonic's recent results are Pound Online, where Sonic's got 5th place out of over 5,000 entrants, and Wrath got 17th at that same tournament. The Quarantine Series opening invitational, Wrath got 9th of 32nd. Wrath also got 2nd at another major tournament, Tacola, which was a little bit in the past, but that was also very notable at the time. And the Quarantine Series Minor Tournament number 1, Sonic's got 17th place out of over 5,000 entrants. Also, the Quarantine Series Major number 1, Sonic's defeated MK Leo twice and everybody else to get 1st place out of all 128 entrants, which is almost entirely comprised of top players. Wrath also got 17th at that same tournament. So as you can see, Sonic the Hedgehog has gotten quite a few good results, and consistently. It's not like just, oh, a one-time fluke. Sonic's is ranked high at least 3 different times, and Wrath is ranked high at least 4 different times. So some of the arguments for a ban for Sonic is timeouts. Now, timeouts generally is seen as something that people don't want to see over and over, and you got to remember, Smash Ultimate and Smash in general, it is a spectator sport in a way. Like, if it had no spectator value, like if nobody enjoyed watching it, then the game's going to like just be smaller in general. Being good as a spectator sport is really important, and seeing timeout after timeout after timeout, that's not really fun. So we're going to talk about the timeouts first. Online, timeouts are extra easy because aggression is nerfed. When you try to go in and just fight your opponent to approach them and react to them, that's pretty much worse than it usually is. Now, running away strategies online, they're extra good. So what's the easiest way to run away? Well, threaten timeout. But it doesn't even necessarily have to be a timeout. Just running away in general is just extremely strong because normally you can just follow the opponent with your eyes. Like, I used to do this all the time with like my Brawl Man. I'll be doing a juggle or something. I'll follow them with my eyes, and that game had very, very little input delay, comparable to Melee. I didn't even know it had input delay until I was told later, because that's how little it felt like. As the new Smash games came out, basically, Melee had the least lag in 64, and then there's a little bit more in Brawl, a lot more in Smash 4, and then even more in Ultimate, and then you go even more after that for Ultimate Online. So layers of lag. That means you can't just look at where the character is on the screen and be like, okay, I'm just going to throw out an up air here and frame trap them. You can't do that. And Smash Ultimate Online, you super can't do that. So that's why characters like, okay, Snake's in disadvantage. Let's hit the bottom of his feet so that I can skillfully hit Snake without hitting the grenade. Well, you know, something like that buffs Snakes. But then Sonic's entire game plan is running away. So since his entire game plan is running away, you can't chase him with your eyes. There's very little you can do to counterplay. That means the risk-reward of a lot of important common situations become more Sonic's favorite because it becomes unreactable, and defensive Sonic particularly becomes notably broken. Another thing that helps make the timeouts easier is the current stage list we play on. The biggest stage in the game, the widest stage, is Pokemon Stadium 2. It has the widest main stage, and the left-to-right blast zone is 250 size, which is also tied with like Kalos, and I think maybe Town, or maybe Town's a little smaller. But basically, a lot of the biggest, no, Town's smaller. Well, a lot of the biggest stages on, like Pokemon Stadium, Kalos, and Town, some of the widest stages where matches generally take longer than usual, these are all in our current rule sets. And, you know, I think that's fine, but I do think that we could also have more stages. Like, I still think back to my argument from a year ago, especially now with like the threat of timeouts, especially since Wi-Fi encourages timeouts more than an offline match, I think having more stages would be really very beneficial. I think we definitely should consider having more small stages added to the list, and maybe like just add one extra ban if people are just worried about that. But I don't even think that's needed. But yeah, I definitely think the stages doesn't help. I think it encourages running away more. But yeah, this is just an online specific thing, so. I mean, honestly, I feel the same way for offline too. It's extra important for online because runaways is so extra good. In addition to all this, a lot of people think that it makes the turns take too long. And yeah, that can make sense too, because imagine if like Sonic players become even more popular and they're like, oh, I'm inspired by the success of Wrath, the success of Sonic's. I see their results, and I, as a Sonic player, now I want their results too. Now I'm going to threaten timeouts more with my Sonic because I know Sonic got first. This is the logical train of thought that people may have. So because people may have that logical train of thought, since people always encourage, like I saw more game watches after Meister did well, I saw more Clouds Online after Cola did well, expect to see more Sonic the Hedgehogs now that Sonic has done well. So with that train of thought, which makes sense, I expect to see more Sonics, and I expect to see more timeout Sonics. We should plan in advance for what that could be. So that's actually probably one of the reasons they made the next turn random. They just don't want to deal with that again. But yeah, I think if you keep seeing timeout Sonics, I think the turns are just going to take longer and longer. Another potential argument for a ban is that all the Sonic players' results compared to their offline versus online, the online results get buffed consistently through various Sonics. For example, Ken was ranked 16, but the notable thing is that Raph was on Area 51 and Sonics wasn't on the PGR. But now you see them consistently getting like first place, second place, 17th place out of like thousands of people. So that is obviously a huge buff. Not quite as important as the other points, but still something worth mentioning. Depending on your perspective and opinion, one could argue that banning based on how aggravating or boring a character is to fight could not be considered a good enough reason for a ban. That would be a heavily debated topic that some people will think it is a good reason and some people will think it is not a good reason.
The thing about timeouts, though, generally, it's not going to be like every matchup. Like, there's very specific matches where it's just like, oh, obviously, the Sonic's not going to be messing with this character at all. Like Wario, for example, or even Lucario, for example. Sometimes it's just best to just, like, leave those characters alone. Because, like, let's say, for example, it's even, you're fighting Wario, you're at 50%, they're at 50%. If, like, there's a chance you can just get one-shotted for no reason if you actually approach. So you just stay running and time them out. So there's no risk. But it's just like, again, if the Sonic approaches, you die. So it's just normal to not mess with those characters like that. Same with Lucario, where it's like, oh, let's say the Sonic gets the lead and kills the Lucario, and now the Lucario is on his second stock, 0%. Now all Sonic has to do is just not touch Lucario at all. Just run around, fly across the screen, just keep running till the timer runs out. Like, these strategies are very important to make certain matchups not as stressful and not as hard. But a lot of the time, people are just like, oh, well, but that's not good for the tournament. Well, sometimes it has to be like that. Like, we're not trying to lose out here. Like, timing out, yeah, I can see it as it being annoying and it can hold up the tournament, of course, but like tournaments always get hold up anyway, so that's not even a real problem. Like, I've watched the tournament brackets. They're going to take a while regardless of if Sonic's timing out someone or not. Like, come on. Sometimes there's not even timeouts, it's just the set goes on for a while. Like, the matches go on for a while because it's just effective defensive play. Like, just being defensive in general can actually just lead to a timeout, online or offline. Like, if you're defensive long enough and like you know what to do to keep your opponent back, then it's just like you can pretty much time out anyone as any character. It's just Sonic is really good at it because it's just like he's already in this spot and he's just speeds across the screen when you get to a set distance, and then you may or may not get hit. There's also one very important thing to note. Is just like people don't really know the Sonic matchup. Like, for this game specifically, I know the Sonic matchup. And in all the previous Smash games, I'm just like, oh yeah, I know what Sonic does. I know how to handle that. And that's easy. This game, there's too many characters, of course, but it's just like, if the best character online, quote unquote, is like Sonic, then just learn the matchup. But there's like, people often don't even bother with that. Like Dark Wizzy, for example. He knows the matchup, online, offline, it doesn't matter. Like, he frees that character up. That's no problem for him. Other people, they don't want to do that. They don't want to think of any strategies or anything. So the character just runs them over, and then they're just like, wow, this is broken. When it's just like, it's as easy as just taking your time, finding a Sonic player, asking them questions, and figuring out the character on your own. Like, but people are pretty lazy and have been lazy for a while, so now that they have to deal with yet another character, they're just like, oh, I don't want to deal with this. Just get rid of the entire thing. And I'm just like, these aren't real arguments. You guys are just literally just mad. Just play the game and learn matchups. Like this game is literally learn matchups the game. If you can't do that, then abuse matchup and experience because there's that many characters in the game. You can just do that. That's not a problem.
Yeah, that's this could be considered a good and a bad thing at the same time. But you can literally just pick an unpopular character and abuse the fact that people probably not going to have that matchup mastered very well. So should Sonic be banned? I think that Sonic should not be banned because, well, I think that Zelda is actually better online. That's honestly what I think. And yes, I base this off of both tournaments and Elite Smash from my personal experience. So this is a personal experience for playing online for a year straight. I have not really encountered the best Sonics, but literally random Zeldas who lag are literally just harder because you can't react. And if you're going to ban one, I feel like that opens up a whole other can of worms where it's like, well, I think this character's even better. And it's like, the moment you go down that train, it has to be like really, really, really obvious and widely agreed upon to go down that. And unless it's like very massively in the favor of, oh, Sonic is just way better than all the other characters, in addition to being the most boring. If that's widely agreed upon, okay, sure. Then just do it. If that is not the case, then I'd say don't.
Like, I don't think Sonic should be banned. Like, it's literally just people being angry because they're just like, oh, new matchup out of nowhere, and it's online. I can't do anything because I didn't learn the matchup. Wow, I'm already done with this. And it's one of those characters that takes so much of your time. I don't want to deal with this. And it's crazy because he doesn't have a projectile like that. That's the craziest part. He's making people feel this way, and he doesn't even have a projectile. Meanwhile, Zelda and Samus just running about being like, oh, this is this is nothing. This is nothing. Let me just be Zelda. Take the entire neutral for myself, by the way, in lag online. And now, guess what? You're out of neutral. You got to double jump. You're going to have to run away. And she can do it again because you got to get back to the ground. And it's going to take you extra long to get back to the ground because of the lag. And then there's Samus. She's just like, oh, you can't just naturally just approach me because if you like jump at me, oh, I can just autopilot anti-air or charge shot you. And that's 40 damage or like 60 damage. And then once you're off stage, she starts those down Bs that you can't do nothing about. And then lag. Some people be SDing getting touched by those bombs. Like, like, there's a bunch of characters that are like super broken on Wi-Fi besides Sonic. And they're all pretty much like equal in like Wi-Fi power. So it's just like, people just don't fully know how bad Wi-Fi really is. People just don't actually know. So you're just like, oh, this is broken, this is broken, this is broken. There's a lot of broken things on Wi-Fi. That's why everyone doesn't exactly like Wi-Fi and have been like, oh, hashtag fix ultimate Wi-Fi. Like, people just been going off with that as of lately.
I agree with it, actually.
Me too. It's just, I'm like,
I don't actually think they're going to do anything, but I do agree with the concept, the idea.
I'd like them to be able to do something about it, but
everyone would.
But just like, it's unlikely because it's just like, you have to remember that it doesn't. It's not going to change the input delay, so that's still there. And then it's just like the Wi-Fi part is still going to be there, so it's still going to be like, oh, you can react like barely, just very barely, but you're still going to be able to tell that it's just like, it's not the best. There's no reason to ban Sonic.
Alright guys, thanks for watching the video. Let us know what you guys think in the comments below. Should Sonic be banned or not? Alright, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell before you leave.
See ya, guys.